guys, what's up? It's Naomi the Crafty Savage here, and I'm back for this week's Wip Chat. If you're new to diamond painting, Wip stands for work in progress, not we're gonna whip somebody. Get your dirty minds out the gutter. Dear Lord, baby Jesus, I tell you, disgusting people. Anywho. Where are my manners? My mama would be so ashamed of me. I can hear her in my head now. I raised you better than that. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing fabulous. I'm not in jail. I don't need bail money just yet. You'll hear all about that. So, I didn't feel like diamond painting. I just didn't feel like doing it. It is what it is. I had been crocheting my little tabucus off, right? So, yeah, here is I just have to weave, here's some of my finished projects. I just have to weave in the ends, and I don't want to. But here is a scarf that I made. Just wrap it around and right, pretty beautiful. I'm sending this is a gift to somebody because I don't need a scarf here in Florida. I really don't. Okay. Then this is a whip that I'm working on. It is another scarf. All right, maybe I'll hold it this way. Another scarf. But I don't, this is like when I first started crocheting, I thought that, one ball of yarn would make a whole scarf. Boy, was I wrong. I mean, I've now learned. So I have gotten more of this yarn. I just need to keep adding it on. But here's a whip. Let me see. Oh, my watermelon slimer blanket, or my slimer watermelon blanket. I don't, whatever I was calling it. That is done. I just need to weave in the freaking ends. I'm keeping this one. So this one, it could be here for a hot minute. Ooh, there goes my notes. Take my notes. Gotta take your notes, ladies and gentlemen. Here is my Slimer watermelon blanket. It's all finished. Like I said, I just have to weave in the ends. There was the bloody horror blanket. Yeah, I have to frog that out and do a different stitch because I added all the balls of yarn together, thinking oh, that way I don't have to do any color changing. Not that color changing's hard, but I just thought, I'll save myself some time. Don't listen to me. I did not save myself any time. I have to pull this whole thing apart and do another stitch because I'm sorry, just the black is 6 balls, 6 skeins of yarn. Yeah. So I'm I don't feel like going out and buying anymore and all that, but here's about half of it, right? I don't know if you can see that. It's about half the size, and it's only about, can I get the whole thing in there? About that big. So I'm yeah, no, that's gonna get expensive real quick. And this yarn right here, the white and red one, it's a little skinny. So for 1 ball of black, it's 3 of these. And I'm no. But I was gonna make it the size of my bed. Maybe it's just a big, there we go. Maybe if I just give it pockets. Woo. I don't know. We're going off the rails here, people. I'm putting blankets on my head and all that. So, but yeah, so I did this as a double crochet, and I don't know. I think I might make it into a granny square that I've been doing a whole heck of a lot of. Oh, that's what I forgot. Darn it. I forgot Chicky Nuggies blankets. I just got done making the second one. I got to make 2 more. Put that in here so I can frog it. And then the one that I'm going to be working on is this one. Woohoo! If the yarn would cooperate, spit it out, Cupcake. This one, I'm really loving this. All right, so where's Chicky Nuggies? Chicky Nuggies is just basically the same, except it's velour. Hold on a second. I have it over here. I just have to, what did I do? No, I just didn't cut it. I thought I unraveled it. I was like, I swear I thought I knotted it and finished it. But this is like Chicky Nuggies. I just gotta, sew that in. Well, that's the back. Let's not look at that. But this is Chicky Nuggies. It's like it's like really freaking soft. Like I might have to get some for myself and make myself a blanket. But I'm making her 4 of these, and I'm attaching something to it, but we'll get into that later. So, but yes, that's what I have been crocheting and working on, and all that good macaroni and cheese. Let me get this stuff out of the way so I can actually tell you about my week, right? Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been interesting. So, okay. Put that in there so it don't flop. All right, where am I going? What am I doing here? Let me just get situated here. Okay, and so let's see, where did we leave off? It's been a hot minute since I've touched this blanket. Well, maybe not a hot minute, right? But let's see. So last Thursday, right? So I lost my phone. Like, I don't know. I was like going crazy looking for it. I'm like, it's gotta be here. It's gotta be here. And I mean, like, I looked everywhere. Like, have you ever lost your phone? But it was like, like you didn't leave your house. So it's in your house. But like, you just can't find it. And of course, you know what I mean? Like, I can't ask anybody to call my phone because, I mean, unless Roscoe's got a cell phone that I don't know about, but at one point I did almost have to, email my boss and be like, hey, can you call my phone because I'm a dumb idiot, and set it down somewhere, and like, I can't find it. And I mean, like, I looked everywhere. I looked outside on the back porch. I looked by my desk. I looked in the bathroom downstairs. I looked in the kitchen. I even opened up the fridge, right? Because I got in a drink, and I was like, well, maybe, I don't know, you just stuck it in the fridge for some reason. Nope, it wasn't there. I went upstairs. I looked upstairs. It wasn't up there. I came back downstairs. I looked where I looked again. It wasn't there. Back upstairs, same thing. Come downstairs. You want to know where that booger was? It was sitting on the freaking printer right next to my desk. And I mean, like, I must have gone by it. I can't tell you how many times. But it was like the black screen was facing up and the top of my printer is black. And I mean, it just blended in. I was like, you freaking idiot, right? And Allison, one of my best friends in Pennsylvania, she was like, hey, can you do this, like, insurance call thing? Like, she'll get, like, so much, if I do it or whatever. So I was like, yeah, sure, you know what I mean? I'm like, she was like, you don't have to, accept their offer or anything like that. And I'm like, well, I mean, if they can get me cheaper insurance, then why not get cheaper insurance, right? I mean, that's a no-brainer. She's like, okay. She's like, it's about like 10 minutes, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, no problem, right? So she sends me the thing. I fill it out, and this guy, like, he calls me, and he's like, going over stuff. And I have like my policy, pulled up, because he's like asking questions that I filled out in the questionnaire. And like, I was getting annoyed because I was like, why did I bother filling out these questions before you called me just to ask me the same stupid, silly questions. Like, I don't get it. To waste my time? Apparently. So, I was like, okay. So, and he's like, well, how much, I forget the freaking lingo, jingo, freaking version of it. But he's like, how much do you, or like, how much is your collision, I don't know, you know what I mean? So I'm looking and I'm telling him, and he's like looking, and he's like, and how much do you pay now? And I'm like, 184, and I think it's like 184.13 a month, you know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, he's like, unfortunately, he's like, the cheapest I have is 254, and like there was like some questions like he had to ask that like I don't know what has been up with me here lately, but like I am not, I don't know, like I'm just like, if you annoy me, like you will know it, you will freaking know it, because like I can't hide it right now. And he asked these questions like what was, what's your highest education level? And I'm like, what the hell does my education level have to do with my driving record or the way I drive? And I'm like, so you mean to tell me somebody who's got like a bachelor, PhD or whatnot, I'm like, they get cheaper insurance than somebody who has a GED or high school diploma? He's like, yeah. And then I caught myself and I'm like, Naomi, this is not his fault. Like he's just doing his job. Like he didn't make these questions up, right? So I'm like, okay. And so I apologized, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm like, that question just irked me, blah 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 blah. And he's like, no, he's like, I understand. He's like, believe me, sometimes reading these questions, I'm just like, what's the purpose of it? And what was it? Yeah, so I more, and then so then like a couple questions later, he asked if I had any accidents or tickets in the last 5 years, and I'm like, no. I'm like, but how about them people, with like the masters and bachelors? And no offense, like I was just like, when I say like something crawled up my butt and died, and I don't know what it is, but it needs to like remove itself and quickly, because I have no patience. Like I just, things where I can normally bite my tongue, like I can't do it right now. Like I don't know why. Like I am just angry, not angry. I don't know, like if I feel like you're wasting my time, or it's a stupid question, or you're annoying me, like I have no problem letting you know. So yeah, when he asked about the thing, and I was like, no, I'm like, but but now I want a pie chart. I'm like, what about all those people that are getting the discount for having a higher education? I'm like, can they say that? Like I was being like a beach. I really was. Excuse me. So yeah, and the guy's like, oh, well, yeah, like he couldn't get it anywhere near what I pay now. And I think that's also because I have like renter's insurance, life insurance bundled in. I've been with the same auto company for like, oh my gosh, probably 6-7 years now. So I'm like, I knew, you know what I mean? I was like, you're not going to get close. Like, not starting off, you know what I mean? Like, no, like I'm good. So yeah, and that was so he sends me, he's like, well, let me just send you an email, in case blah blah blah, or there's anybody else. And I'm like, sure, right? So I get his email. Tell me why dude was like smoking freaking hot. And I'm like, holy shit. Had I known, I might have been a little nicer on the phone to him, you know what I mean? So I screenshot it, right? And I send it to Allison. Now, I've already told her, you know what I mean, what an a-hole I was on the phone. And I send it to her, and I was like, had I known he'd been this hot, I would have been nicer. And she's like, hot damn, like, so I don't know, that was funny. And then Friday, oh, yeah, like work, just, yeah, I don't even know. Like it's, like I said, whatever is up my butt needs to remove itself. Like, cause I can't help not be like an a-hole. I just can't help it. So when I go to take Roscoe out, you know what I mean? Because I take him out in the morning, you know, before I start the day and all that. And I swear, Roscoe is like nosier than like a bunch of like old women sitting around like they're the neighborhood watch, like that knows everybody's freaking business, right? That's Roscoe. I swear to goodness. Like, we go outside, and if somebody's outside or somebody's doing something, I mean, like, he makes it so obvious, like, damn near breaks his neck trying to, like, look over at them and stare them down and see what they're doing. And I'm like, come on, you old biddy. Like, stop being so nosy. Yeah, so Roscoe, I mean, if you want to know the gossip in my neighborhood, ask Roscoe. He freaking sees it all, because he's just Mr. Nosy Body over there. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I just got to count and make sure I'm doing the right thing. Because I'll go back and be like, oh, snickerdoodle. Yeah, so then I just, do my normal thing. And I go to the bank. And I run to Walmart. And as I'm coming out of Walmart, and again, here I have, an a-hole moment. But in my defense, there was something going on with that. So, I'm getting in the car, and this lady comes up with me, and she's got a clipboard. And I'm like, what in the good Lord does, like, what does she want, right? So I'm like, be nice, Naomi. So I roll my window down, and she's like, yeah, we're just going around looking at people's windshields. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, not this again. Because a couple months ago, it was this year, and it was with my old car, so it had to be before April. I was at a gas station, and this guy came up to me and was like talking about chips and stuff, and he's like, oh, you got a chip? And I'm like, no, that's dirt. And the guy, proceeds to argue with me about this chip in my window until I took my thumb and went, beep, and it disappeared. So I'm like, he's like, oh, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, oh, dear Lord, not this again. Like, but I'm like, just be nice, and she points to this one thing, and I'm like, no, it's dirt. It didn't disappear, guys. Like, it didn't disappear. Like, I felt like the biggest a-hole in the freaking world, and I was like, oh my God, now you got to hear her out, because you just made yourself look like an a-hole from outer space, right? So here, I guess when the storm came, like the tree, like thank goodness, like it fell the way it did and like just missed my car. Like I have pictures of it on Instagram. It was crazy. But I guess during the storm, like some things, and there's like these little nuts that drop down, they like put chips in my windshield, and there was like probably about like 4 or 5 of them. Like there was a lot, and my dumb butt, I just thought it was dirt because I really need to clean my car, and I'm just lazy and I don't want to do it. Like nope. And I'm so lazy that like I could take it and have it get washed, have it vacuumed inside and out, like, and I just have to get out of the car and wait, and I'm too lazy to even drive there to do that. Like nope, I'm not. It'll get done. Like, it will get done. But, so, yeah, that was fun, and she was like, oh, we can come out Saturday, and I'm like, look, lady, like, I don't think you understand, like, the parking situation at my place. Like, there is no parking on Saturday. Like, good luck, that's not gonna happen. So I was like, I'm like, and I don't want to do Monday because I know, like, if you have the glass replaced, like, you can't drive it for so long or something like that. So I was like, nah, Monday's not good, like, because I got to run to the bank and make sure everyone's checks get deposited. So I was like, no, like, how about Tuesday? Because Tuesdays I don't usually go anywhere. I'm here. Like, I don't leave my house. So, yeah. So then, and my boss called while she was like talking to me, and I'm giving her all the information, and I didn't answer it. And so, I get that done and all taken care of. And I call him back, and he was like, he's like, did you go check the mail yet? And I'm like, no. He's like, don't go there. He's like, go home. He's like, this one builder just sent over a credit card payment for over $100,000. He's like, I need you to go and, do it now. And I'm like, okay, and I'm thinking, and usually like to run this credit card payment, it's 5-10 minutes if the computer wants to be slow. Like from the time I start and finish and even scan, an email over like the receipt of the credit card payment to the builder, it's usually no more than like 5-10 minutes at the most, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. So I drive home. I look at it. I'm like, okay. I go to type it in and all that, and I'm looking for this invoice number that she said she wants to pay. So I'm like, I don't see that number. So I'm like, did they, maybe already pay it and like she forgot or something? So, I go and check, and nope. We don't have an invoice number for that builder. I mean, we have that invoice number, but it's not for that builder. So I'm like, So, I call her up, and I'm like, hey, I don't have this invoice number for you. And she was like, what? She's like, let me look. So she looks, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. She's like, I meant this. And I'm like, okay, no problem. So, and I go and click on it, and I'm like, I'm like, hey, it's still, because I had to have her on the phone, because on their authorization form, they don't fill in all the stuff. Like, I have to call them and get the CC and all that, So I figured while she was on the phone, I'll just finish it up instead of having to call her back. No, that's not what happened, right? So I click all the things, and I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, like, it's still saying that, like, you're overpaying by like 20 grand here. I'm like, and she's like, oh, she's like, let me call you back, because, there was like people in her office and all that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, I'm looking, trying to figure it out, and she calls me back, and she was like, oh, yeah, she's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I forgot, to add these 2 invoices on there. So I'm like, okay, and I'm like, no, it's still, and she's like, all right, she's like, let me go back, and like, we'll walk through it. Like, and I'm like, don't treat me like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, because I will double check and triple check, make sure that like I didn't forget to click on an invoice or think I clicked on it and it didn't click. I'm like, I'm not the one, Cupcake. Like, not today. So, we go through them and all that, and then it comes down to this one, and she was like, oh, she's like, well, we have this. And I'm like, well, there was a price increase, and like, and it's not her fault, but at the same time, I'm like, they insist that I upload their proposals onto this certain website and not email them to them. So I'm like, so when we give you a proposal for a house and a year later you decide you want us to load it, guess what? Like, the price has changed, and it's because the material has gone up. I mean, just this year alone, I think we've had 5 or 6 material increases just since January, and we're in October. Yeah. So like, it's nuts. Like, there's sometimes that like you can get a material increase and it's not too bad, and you can keep the same number. Not this year, sweetheart. Like, no, like, I've never seen this many material increases in 1 year. Like, never. Like, usually it's anywhere from 2 to 3 price increases a year. Like, it's usually always in the beginning, and then sometime towards the end. And I don't know, sometimes if they're just feeling froggy, they throw another one in there. But yeah, like this year, it's just been ridiculous. And she was like, well, I don't have that. And I'm like, well, let me send it over to you. So, I mean, anyway, like it was just a nightmare. And it took 2 hours. 2 freaking hours to run this credit card payment. Yeah, like I was livid. I was like, I can't. I'm like, thank God it's Friday, like, because I don't know if I could handle one more day. Like, I don't know if I can be professional enough to do that. So, yeah. So Saturday rolls around and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here, and crochet, and I'm looking, and I'm like, I really need to, declutter some stuff and get rid of stuff. And I was like, yeah, you know me, my famous words, I'll do it later, or, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, I did get it done because I was kind of pissed. But Saturday, I wanted to go to the craft store, and I wanted to go to Joann's. Now, I haven't gone to Joann's. I usually go, 9 out of 10 times, I go to Hobby Lobby because it's close and easy to get to. Or I'll go to Michael's, which is a little bit, it's about the same distance, but it's kind of like a pain in the butt to get into. But I wanted to go to Joann's to see what kind of yarn they had. And I'm like, and I don't know, Saturday, I talked myself out of it. I talked myself out of going to the craft store to get more yarn because I'm like, Naomi, you have a lot of yarn. Like, for somebody who just started to crochet, you got a boat ton of freaking yarn. Now, like, most of the yarn that I do have, I have a project in mind for it, like, or a blanket in mind for it. You know what I mean? But it's like, maybe you should get them done before you go, to Joann's and just buy more yarn. So I didn't. And my boss calls me and he's like, hey, did you see that email? Like, he doesn't usually call me on the weekends. He doesn't call me after 4 o'clock, when I'm done work. And so, like, if he does, I'm like, I'll answer because I'm like, something must be up. So I answer and he's like, oh, did you see the email? And I'm like, no. He's like, you didn't see it? And I'm like, it's Saturday. Like, just because the office is at my house does not mean that I check the office emails on Saturday or Sunday. Like, no. And he was like, yeah, he was like, there's a thing from, QuickBooks that they held that credit card payment. And I'm like, what the? So I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, I'll take a look at it on Monday. And he was like, no, he's like, we got to get it done. We need that money. And I'm like, I know we need that money. Like, here's the thing. The builder shouldn't have gotten that far out. Who am I? Who am I to say that? So I take a look at it. And he was like, I was like, I'm like, I'm not sure about it. I'm like, I'll ask, the lady that's up in Pennsylvania, like when she gets back. I'm like, she's off, Monday and Tuesday. So I'll ask her Wednesday. And he was like, we can't wait. We can't wait. He's like, call her up. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, she's away. I'm like, I'm not going to bother her when she's away. And she had to go, she was at the ER with her dad on Friday. And he goes, well, I don't think she went away, because of her dad. And I was like, well, I'm not going to call her. I'm like, I'll text her, and if she's able to, like, or she wants to. Because also, like, she knows, you know what I mean? Like, if I know she's off or away, or what I mean, like, I will not call her, I will not bug her unless it's like it cannot wait, or it's like something only she knows type of thing. So I was like, well, I'll text her, you know what I mean? So I text her over, you know, da da da, and she replies back. She's like, I don't really know without looking at the email, because I, for the most part, like explained in the text what it was and why, and who was making me, you know, contact her. And she was like, she turned around and she was like, you know, without looking at the email, she's like, I don't know. She's like, and I can't really deal with this right now. She's like, just 10 minutes ago, I found out that my dad has stage 4, he's pancreatic and colon cancer. I could be wrong, but he's got stage 4 cancer. And at that moment, when I read that part in her text, like, I was like, I feel like I didn't even want to bug her, you know what I mean? So I'm like, no worries, don't worry about it. And she's like, no, she's like, send it over. She's like, I'll take a look at it when I can. So I emailed it over to her, but I'm like, you know, like, look, if you get to it on Wednesday when you get back, that's when you get to it, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't care, you know what I mean? And because I'm like the same way. I'm like, if I took vacation days, don't call me. Don't bug me. And my thing is, like, I won't respond to the text. I won't answer the phone. Like, nope, I'll deal with it when I'm back. Like, so yeah, so I called my boss up and I told him, I was like, thank you for making me the a-hole. I'm like, this is what happened. So I was just like, I was so just like irritated and kind of like just irked off. And I spoke to a friend for like a couple hours, and I was like, you know, I really need to just, you know, declutter and da da da. And she was like, you know, she's like, well, she's like, I watch, you know, like a couple episodes of Hoarders, and I'm like, oh, that's right, that's how you do it. You watch a couple episodes of Hoarders, and it just sparks like a fire underneath your butt, right? And you're like, get rid of this, toss that, donate this, like burn that, chuck that. I don't need that. And that's what I did Saturday night. Like, I still have a lot more to go. So I'm like, you know, okay. And my thing is, like, when I do it, like, I make a mess. Like, I can't do it after work because I don't have enough time to put it all back together. So I'm going to now dedicate either Saturday or Sunday to decluttering, you know what I mean? Like, little by little. Like, I'm not going to do it all at one shot, you know. The poor Goodwill or Salvation Army where I go to drop stuff off is going to be like, good Lord, like, where did all this crap come from? I'm not looking forward to my craft room. Like, I'd have to say probably my craft room is, it's bad. It's bad. I don't even know what in good gravy happened in there, but I mean, apparently I did. You know, I just Philly flung and slung things all over the place, and I don't have a maid to clean up after myself, you know. I should really look into that. Maybe I should make more money before I start doing that. But that would be nice. Oh, so yeah, like, I decluttered like half of my living room, and then like I have this other half over here where I guarantee the majority of the stuff, it's either getting donated or chucked, because it's stuff that's like in these, it's kind of like these, but bigger things that I don't think I've touched since I moved from Pennsylvania, and that was 3 years ago. So I mean, I still go through it because I'm the ding dong that, you know, sometimes will, like, I don't know, stick a really important document like just somewhere silly, like, yeah. So I still got to like go through it and make sure. But yeah, so that's kind of like my plans for this weekend. And right, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sorry, I'm over here counting. And then Let's see. Oh my gosh. I forgot. On Friday when I went to the bank, right? So let's stop, rewind. Back to Friday. Okay. So when I went to the bank, I didn't see Gabriel. And I'm like where is he? Like, cause now, like, no. Like, it's been like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, and I have not seen Gabriel. Like, where are you hiding him? Did you move him to a new location? And there's this one dude that, I mean, he's just, I swear the dude's just a lazy piece of crap. Like, and just sits behind his desk and is like too good to get up and help the tellers when, anywho, getting off the topic, right? So he's standing there and I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna ask him as I'm standing in this line. I'm like, so where's Gabriel? I'm like, I haven't seen him in a while. I'm like, I'm like, did you move him? I'm like, is he over at Cortez? I'm like, do I need to start going over to Cortez? And the guy's like, no. He's like, Gabriel's on vacation. He'll be back, he'll be back next week. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm like, I need to know these things. Like, the last time I saw Gabriel, now probably the last time I saw him, he would have told me this, right? Right, now keep that in mind. All right, let's fast forward. Woo! Back to Saturday, right? So I decluttered my butt off. I mean, decluttered, threw out like garbage bags of just, I don't know, just stuff that I'm like, why am I holding on to this? Like, I don't know. Apparently, I guess, I needed it, and now I'm like, you don't need it, until I go to look for it. I'm like, I know I have that, and then it hits you. You got rid of it. I mean, that's how it always works, You don't ever need it, and then you get rid of it, and that's when you need it, and yeah, just Murphy's Law, I guess. So, yeah. And so that's the one. All right, hold on. I need a drink because my voice is like. And I apologize if you hear Roscoe slurping it up there in the background. He's a noisy drinker. He gives no fluff. So if you hear that, I don't know what to tell you. Yell at Roscoe. He's not gonna care, but take it up with him. So yeah. So I decluttered. I decluttered most of Saturday, and then I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna start working on Chicky Nuggies Blanky. That's the one that I showed you. I finished. I've made another one since then as well. And oh no, I'm sorry, this is Sunday. I decluttered a little bit more, and then I was like, I don't want to spend the whole day decluttering. Where if I would have done that Sunday, my whole living room would be done, but I was like, I want to craft a little bit. So I worked on Chicky Nuggies blanket, and I got it done, and I've been meaning to text my sister-in-law, and ask her, how her and Tater Tot are doing. Tater Tot is my niece that will be born in December. Yes, I don't know. I name them some cute little things, right? Chicky Nuggie, Tater Tot. Honestly, Chicky Nuggie, she got her name. I think I've said this before. She was supposed to be due around Easter in April of 2020. Yeah. And she wasn't. She was born in March of 2020. But so, because she, like, her due date was right around Easter, like a chick. And then, I don't know, Baby Yoda popped in my head, and I was like, Chicky Nuggie! And I have been calling her Chicky Nuggie since before she was born, just like the same with Tater Tot. When I found out they were having another baby, I was like, I gotta think of a cool little name. And I came up with Tater Tot, because Chicky Nuggie and Tater Tots, they just go together, right? Why not? So, but I had gotten finished, Chicky Nuggies blanket, and I took a picture and I sent it over to my sister-in-law, asking her how her and Tater Tot were doing and letting her know, like, hey, I didn't forget, because I told her I was working with this like eyelash yarn, and oh my, it's a royal pain in the butt. Like, I was just like, I need to find something else, and that's where I found that like purple, what is it? Is it polyester? Not polyester. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but it's like really freaking super soft. And I was like, I'm just gonna make her blankets out of this because I'll be here. The girl will be freaking graduating college, and I'll still be making these stupid, things. She won't even need them anymore. And I'll be like, look, here's your college present. I started it when you were 2. But yeah, so I changed that up, but I sent the picture over, and like we were talking, and she was like, oh, she was like, she was saying that Tater Tot needed a blanket because she really hasn't had time to crochet, because like Chicky Nuggy, she crocheted her like all types of blankets, and she was like, the only one that I did do, Hugo, that's their one little dog. She was like, he peed on it, and I was like, oh, that jerk face. And I was like, well, you know what? So as we were texting, I went over to the website that I got the yarn from for Chicky Nuggy, and I screenshot the colors, and I told my sister-in-law, I was like, I'm like, well, pick out what color you want. And I told her, I was like, the one color I picked for, Chicky Nuggy, and I let her know what number that was because they had it by the colors by numbers. I'm like, let me know what colors, like you like it. I'll make Tater Tot a blanket, but obviously I'd make it in a different stitch, not like this, because newborns, they can get like the little fingers caught in toes, you know what I mean? So I was like, I was like, I'm like, and I told her the reason why I picked the color that I picked for Chicky Nuggy is Chicky Nuggy has this bunny, and I mean, this is the whole reason I started making that stupid eyelash little whoopee thing, is Chicky Nuggy has this bunny, and it's got this like certain material, and she loves holding the ear, and like she sucks her thumb and she holds onto the ear, and she like plays with it on her nose. And the last time I had talked to my brother, and I had never heard Chicky Nuggy cry. When I say she is like the happiest, sweetest, loving, like little freaking thing to like walk on 2 legs, like she is. Like, she don't even cry when she's got to go to bed. They're like bedtime, and she's just, and walks herself up the stairs. I'm like, what are you slipping that child, right? So like I had never heard her crying. Here she was teething, and my lazy brother was like, well, where's Bunny? I'm like, how dare you make her go look for her own bunny? I'm like, oh no, Aunt Nay's got you. She'll make you so many freaking whoobies, like you won't have to look. They'll just be falling from the sky. And that's how it all started. And it was funny because when I got finished Chicky Nuggy's blankie, I was like, I'm like, I should add like bunny ears onto this. And I'm still fairly new at crocheting. Like, I'm a lot, I understand a lot more than I did about like a month and a half ago. But I'm still new, and I'm like, I don't know how to read a freaking pattern. Like, I look at it and I try, and some of it makes sense. But I'm like, I think, dude, what? Is there a video that like I could watch? Like, I do a lot better watching a video. And so yeah, and I was like looking at these like bunny ear patterns, and I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm like, I'm just gonna buy some stuffed animal bunnies, chop their freaking ears off, and I'm gonna sew 2 bunny ears onto each blanket, and so her Chicky Nuggy, has bunny ears on her blanket. So, yep, that's what I'm doing. And I let my sister-in-law know, and I sent her a picture. I was like, well, I found these bunnies on Amazon. And she was like, because like my thing was, I was like, I don't want to spend an arm and a leg, you know what I mean? Like, buying these stuffed bunnies that I'm just gonna cut. Like, the only thing I want for them is their ears, you know what I mean? Like, and I even looked, I tried finding just like bunny ears, and they were like either felt, and I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for, or like on a headband, and I'm like, no. So that's where I was like, well, just get a stuffed bunny. And so I searched for, a fairly inexpensive stuffed bunny, because I need 4 of them, because I'm making her 4 blankets. And yep, sent it to my sister-in-law, and she was like, oh, those are perfect. And I was like, okay. And then, my sister-in-law, she picked out a color for tater tot, and I was like, all right, well, I'll order the bunnies and the yarn on Monday when I get paid. So, yeah. So then Monday rolls around, and we're going to get back to that credit card payment that took me 2 freaking hours. Oh, and believe me, I'm still dealing with it on Wednesday. And today's Wednesday. So when I say, like, I'm so over this credit card payment, like, I'm over it. I'm done. Like, I'm freaking done. So, I do the payroll. I print the payroll checks, pay the payroll taxes. And I'm like, all right, before I run to the bank, let me look to see what this is. Why they put this on hold. So I click on the link, I log in, all that good macaroni and BS. And here they want, now just in the email, so before I logged in the email, they said that they were going to need the proposals for, what was like charged, the invoices for, what was charged on that credit card, and, like our bank statement. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, that I needed to upload it. So I'm like, well, let me just get that done, scan it. So I'm like, me thinking like, okay, this will be easier. Let me put, each proposal with each invoice, and I scan it over and all that. And I go to log into the thing. I think I even printed out like 3 months of our bank statements, just because I'm like, that should be good. They might only need 1, but let me just print out 3 just in case, I go log in there. They want the proposals by themselves. Cute. And also, so with that, there were some of the bills that they paid that they were like repairs that we did. That like my boss just sends it over to me to bill. So there's no like proposal or anything like that. So I had to type up quite a few different, proposals for these, like, it was a nightmare. So I do all that. I scan the proposals separate. I scan the freaking invoices separate. I go and print out another 3 months of freaking, bank statements, scan that over. I load it all up. So that's done. So they're looking into it, and it takes 2 days. Okay, now keep in mind, I did this on Monday. So I get all that done. I finally get to the bank. I'm like, woohoo, I'm going to see Gabriel. It's going to be a good day. I walk in the bank. No Gabriel. I was like, what the mother fluffernutter is going on up in here? Like, this damn fool, he lied to me. He told me Gabriel was on vacation, and I was cool with that. Like, I got it. Like, nah, Gabriel, he deserves a vacation. Good for him, But this mother turkey over here told me that Gabriel would be back this week, and I don't see Gabriel, right? So I'm like, Naomi, just chill out. Maybe he's at lunch, like you are getting here a little later than what you normally do. Maybe he's at lunch. So I'm like, okay. And I'm just, la, 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 waiting in line. I go up to the teller and I'm like, where's Gabriel? And she was like, oh, he's on vacation. And I'm like, that's what that guy told me on Friday, but he said he'd be back to, this week. And she was like, no, he comes back Tuesday. I'm like, oh, okay. Now let me tell you, if I go walking up in that bank on Friday and Gabriel ain't there, like, they better produce him real quick. Like, I'll just be like, look, like, I'm going to need Gabriel's schedule. I'm going to need to know when he takes his breaks because I can't deal with you incompetent fools. Like, just give me somebody who knows how to do their job. Yes, right? So, yeah. And then, I went to the bank and then, I came home and I ordered tater tots yarn, chicken nuggies, bunnies so I can cut off their ears and sew them onto the blanket. Which I think I figured out a way to sew them on there. Or like crochet them on there. And then, yeah. I talked to my mama for a little bit on Monday. That was nice. My mom's still alive. She didn't like run off and get married and forget all about me. And then, let's see. And then yesterday, which was Tuesday, for me, work and I'm at work and, okay, it's what it is. And, my boss sends over like a proposal for me to type up and like, I'm literally like, just got it. Like, and when I say like 2 minutes, like he's calling me like, hey, did you get that? Like, hot damn, like, can you, like, give me a second? Like, can I print it out? Like, and I was literally, like, because what I'll do is I'll go into, like, one of their old proposals, and I'll just change the date, change, the job name, and anything in the body that needs to be changed, and when, like, the price is no good. And, and then do, like, a save as. And I was literally changing the date. Like, and I'm like, hot damn, like, I could understand, you know what I mean? Like, maybe if it was, like, 20 minutes went by and it was like, hey, I haven't seen this proposal go out yet, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't take me 20 minutes to type up a proposal. And I was just like, when I say, like, I'm just, like, annoyed, like, I'm just like, what the fluff the nutter sandwich? Like, I can't. Yeah. So... And then, the guy was supposed to come and fix, like, replace the windshield on my car because, on Tuesday. And I had it set up for, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Dude calls me at, like, 12:21. Now, of course, like, I had gone outside because it was, like, around 12. And I still hadn't, like, heard anything. And I'm like, are these people just, like, a bunch of, like, jackrabbits? Like, what the fluff? I'm like, or did I think I set it up for Tuesday? You know what I mean? And it's Wednesday. Or, like, did she write Wednesday's date thinking that was Tuesday's date? So I go out to my car to get the paperwork and I see my, neighbor, and I was outside talking to her. Now, of course, I don't have my phone, right? I swear, like, 9 out of 10 times, like, my phone is stuck up my butt. Like, I usually have it. Once in a blue moon, I sit it down, I lose it, or I think, like, I'm just going to be a second. That's when somebody calls. Well, that's when the windshield guy, called to let me know he was running a little behind, blah, blah, blah. But I was outside talking to my neighbor, and we were just talking about, like, the community and how, like, everybody's moving out and the people that are moving in they're something. We'll just leave it at that, right? So, and I had, like, I had these, like, little Caesar dog things that Roscoe can't eat because it makes his skin get all funky, and she's got a little dog, and I was like, hey, by any chance could you use this? Like, I got like 12 of them. And she's like, oh yeah, that's actually what she eats. So I ran inside and I grabbed it and gave it to her, and I come back in and I see the dude call. So I, call him back. He don't answer, so I leave a voicemail. He calls me back. Okay. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm running, a little bit behind. He's like, he's like, but I should be there like around 1. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, let me, quick run out, just run around the corner to the 7-Eleven, grab a couple of things, and I get back and I pull my car in backwards. Like I back it into the spot where I don't usually do that. I just pull in. But I figured, I'm like, it'll be easier for him, to like replace the glass that way. So I'm like, all right. The mofo showed up like around 2 o'clock, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, no, like, let me be like, I was dropping my car off, and I was supposed to drop it off between 8 and 12, and I decided I'm gonna drop it off at 2. Like, would you accept it? No. But it is what it is, and he was a nice guy, and I got my windshield replaced, so I don't have any more, chips and cracks from the freaking hurricane that came through. And then I started another one of Chicky Nuggies blankets on Monday, and I actually finished that today. That's, I think, upstairs. And then that brings us to today. So, I was outside this morning before I started work, and I took Roscoe out, and the maintenance guy was there, like, with a wheelbarrow, like, picking up the branches and stuff from where we had piled them from where the tree branch fell down around my car. And I was like, I thought, like, the tree people were coming to get that. Like, and they're coming November 8th to, like, pick up like the debris and all that. And he was like, yeah, he's like, but he's like, I can't stand looking at it, he's like, it looks so messy. And I was like, no, I get it, you know what I mean? And so he was like, I just take some of it, you know what I mean, like, and put some in the dumpster. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably why the freaking dumpster's been full, and you can't put your freaking trash out there anymore. But I'm like, be nice, Naomi, right? Oh, but I mean, he's a really cool, nice freaking guy, like really nice guy. Like when I moved in here and I didn't get a key to like the pool, and it was because like it was never given to me, and the old president of the HOA was like, oh yeah, like that'll be $10. I could see if I lost it and I needed to replace it, but if it was never given to me, like I shouldn't be charged $10. And yeah, so like, yeah, we were talking about her, and it was like the new president, he seems to be getting things done and cares about stuff. And so yeah, the maintenance guy, he's pretty cool. And then I got an email. Guess who it was from? Guys, I'm so over this builder. So over it. So I get an email from the credit card people, like the builder for the credit card. And she was like, oh, she's like, well, when you had to break it into 2 payments, she was like, she was like, there's one, that there's a $270 balance, that you didn't charge, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no, because like I added it up, like, and I made sure, and when I clicked everything, it zeroed out and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, let me double check, make sure I didn't like fat finger the numbers when I typed it in, what was to be paid in the amount, and just didn't realize that it left a balance or whatnot. No, that was not the case. Not the case at all. So at this point, I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, I'm freaking done, right? So, I mean, like, and I even double checked and, like, added up the 2 totals for the 2 different transactions I had to do because I couldn't put it all on one. And she, and I'm like, yep, nope. So I scan over, the printout of her email telling me what invoices to pay. I send her over the authorization form, and hold on, guys. Yeah, so I send her over the authorization form as well. I print out every, like, I can click on the payment and it'll show me what invoices were paid on that payment. I print that out. Like, I added up, like, and I must have added it up, you know what I mean? Like 2-3 times, because I'm like, that's the kind of person I am. Because when I'm about ready to, like, politely call you an a-hole and show you the proof, like, I make sure so I don't make myself look that way. You know what I mean? Like, and I added it up both, and I'm like double checking, looking, like, nope, that's what the amount says. And when you add this and when you add this, yep, nope, that adds up to that. So, like, I emailed her, and I was polite, but, like, me and her, we usually goof around, and I'm pretty sure, like, at this point, like, it was not my normal friendly, like, hi, I was like, do you remember? Like, yep. And, I had to call you because we don't have this email or this invoice, and it was for this invoice, and then you forgot to add the other two, and like, it was not very friendly, guys. And yeah, and that's kind of where that's at. And that's more or less like my week in a nutshell. So yeah, so like I said, something has crawled up my butt and, like, freaking died, and it needs to just remove itself. Just freaking remove itself. Go somewhere else, because I can't right now. Like, I don't have the patience for anything. But you know what? With that said, guys, I'm gonna hop on out of here. If you're new to the channel and you liked what you saw and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. And I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!